Well, hop aboard the Oreo Express, where truth don't hide and we don't second guess. Unapologetic, we're bold and we're loud, shining light on the left shady crowd. Oreo Express, rolling down the track, exposing the lies, ain't no turning back. Conservative fire, we're speaking the truth. At Oreo Express, this one's for you. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll, let's go. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll.
Every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
That's right. Absolutely free. Welcome back, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Josh here, Oreo Express. And guess what? As always, it is Wednesday, May 21st. Second show today. Thank you once again for tuning in. If I could get y'all to hit that like button, I'm going to test y'all here. About halfway through the show, I'm going to go see how many likes we got. And you guys better hit that like button. And once again, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. We got a couple things to talk about. This morning on the morning show, we covered the epic Oval Office meeting where President Donald Trump laid out the truth, what's going on with some of the white South Africaners and the genocide that's going on over there that media tends to want to hide. You've seen all the congressmen, senators, everybody else be upset that they're white, and it was only 59 of them, but legacy media was outraged that we would allow 59 white people here in the United States as an asylum claim when they're promoting asylum all the time, but they're promoting people that aren't vetted, that aren't here to pledge allegiance, that aren't here holding the American flag. That's who they want here. We got that. We got Gavin Newsom again putting out these fake posts. We've covered it extensively. We're going to have a good rebuttal to his lies today. Also, ICE outside of Immigration Courthouse, and it is triggering the Democrats. Somehow, even though Democrats have created sanctuaries for criminals, and law enforcement wants to do their job, now they're upset that they're arresting these folks. Imagine that. I don't know a time in the history that I've studied where you had one party. I mean, you have to go back a long way. You have to go back to the Democrat Party of the KKK to get anything like we're seeing today and how much they hate this country and want to destroy it. Let me jump over here in the comments. Susan Spencer, Cade, Texas, still rolling. Yeah, turn that timer off. Get a couple extra 100 miles in there. Trina, what's up? Let's see. Old Uncle Bill is here. B. Mikey. And Nola's here. let's see who else is here. Nola Kimber. Let's go down to the bottom here. Texas Bigfoot, Deb V, Sugar Bear. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you would, hit that share button, and don't forget to hit that like. I'm going to be testing you guys here in a little while, so you better hit that like. Or even better, you don't like me, hit the dislike. Hit the dislike. That's okay too. We know who you are. You guys can't get enough of us. Oh, man. So this morning we covered the Oval Office meeting with President Trump and the South African president. And they are here meeting, as you guys know, and I just talked about. We had 59 refugees come over that were fleeing persecution. Donald Trump put a video up, and you should have seen the look on the face of the South African president, like, I didn't know that was going on in my country. And listen to Peter Ducey on this, because it's kind of funny.
Pointing out that is definitely the most awkward Oval Office meeting since Zelensky was here. It ended a little bit better because I can see the vehicle. It is not leaving. The South African delegation is not leaving early. They will be sticking around for lunch. But really, when you watch that, it seems like the Trump foreign policy doctrine is a lot like the old slogan for the MTV show The Real World, where people stop being polite and start getting real. And that's what we just saw from President Trump.
Stop getting polite. Stop being polite and start getting real. Yeah. I'm tired of the political correctness. I'm tired of the, just go on and do what you're doing. No, you know what? Donald Trump is standing for freedom. He has been a peace leader. We learned that with the Abraham Accords and his last administration. You know, they said that within 2 years of him being elected, we'd be in nuclear war. And first president in my lifetime to walk over to the denuclearized zone over there in North Korea and meet with Kim Jong-un. So I thought that was definitely a good day today. And then the Washington Post posted this. We're going to talk about legacy media and some of their lies. The Washington Post said the Trump administration is resettling Afrikaners in the U.S. after halting admission for other refugees, amplifying false claims. Listen to that. False claims that South Africa is presiding over a genocide. So we got a lot of that. Even some of them, I think it was NBC, and we're going to get into this, said false claims and actually got called out and changed their post. We'll talk about that. Of course, CNN and some of the other ones, but let's look at mainstream media for a second, legacy media. How false claims of white genocide made their way to the White House. Trump's Afrikaner refugee policy based on unfounded claims. White farmer genocide. How false white genocide claims. I mean, you got all these. You got Yahoo News, Reuters, the New York Times, The Guardian, PolitiFact, NBC News. I just find it amazing. You know what this reminds me of, right? I could go back and screenshot all the ones that said the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian propaganda. Remember the 51 spies who lied? All the media that lied for them? Leading up into an election that probably would have changed the outcome. No matter how much cheating Democrats did, they wouldn't have been able to overcome what that would have done to Biden's campaign. And they told you that it was a conspiracy theory, that it was a lie, that that what Trump was saying was false, and that the Hunter Biden laptop that had information about Pedo Pete, 10% for the big guy, that was all Russian disinformation, folks. That's what it was. We even had the 51 spies who lied. We're seeing that all over again unravel here. And what's interesting is it's almost like they got a memo, huh? They all have false genocide claims, false claim, unfounded claim, false claim. Did they get a memo or something? We've seen when they've gotten memos before. And let's take a look at this. Listen to CNN right here. This
saw him try to explain the reality on the ground in his country. I think the South African president initially came to the meeting, and you actually saw him try to extend some olive branches. He tried to direct the conversation to trade, to critical minerals. He brought golfers that he knew and would listen to, if not listening to his delegation that was presented there. And then when a reporter did ask about these false claims of white genocide, you also saw him try to explain the reality on the ground in his country that President Trump then dismissed. You saw him basically say, and that the data backs this up. Police statistics in South Africa do show that on the subject of killings, there are not mass killings of white South Africans in South Africa. There have been gruesome killings of white farmers, individual cases of that. But
oh my God, could you imagine if this was about black farmers, the outrage, the fake news, CNN and legacy media? But it's a white farm. Well, there has been reports of, well, we know, we watched the video, we've seen it, we've seen all the crosses from the white farmers, we know. But just listen to how they peddle this on CNN.
it is a systemic. The police data shows that right now that white South Africans are not killed at a higher rate than any other South African. There is a broad crime problem in South Africa that is very different than a claim of genocide. Then there's the issue of land. Well, under apartheid, that apartheid-led government made it very, very difficult, almost impossible for black people to own farmland. So now you've seen this law passed earlier this year by the South African government that, yes, would take land, but it's subject to judicial review.
Listen to how he says this. People are getting land because of the color of their skin. That's bottom line. They're taking land away from white farmers. They're burning down their farms. They are killing them. But fake news don't want you to know that.
As well. And it has to be in the public interest. So there's a lengthy process. It's not just like you're confiscating land as well. That nuance also has not been articulated by President Trump here. So you have these two issues, these two false claims. And this meeting, in a way, was the culmination of, for years now, these lobbyists of these Afrikaner groups have been traveling to Washington, talking to Republicans, also talking to this White House that has given them time, actually told us in a piece, described them as civil rights leaders as well. And you're seeing the culmination of that lobbying campaign and the amplifying of these false descriptions of the reality on the ground in this country.
How do you see it, Scott?
Well, look, whether you call it a genocide or not, the facts are white farmers in South Africa have been murdered. A lot of people have tried to cover this up. A lot of people in, I think, media in the United States have tried to cover it up. Obviously, the South African government doesn't want to talk about it, so it was kind of a boss move for Donald Trump to roll that television in there today. And I think even the agriculture minister in the Oval Office confirmed that these people are, in fact, being murdered. So my question is, if it's not a genocide today, how many do we want to let get murdered so that people around here can be satisfied? Okay, now it's a genocide. Let's let a few more. I don't understand. We're talking about 50-something people they were trying to let in, and everybody's losing their mind after we let in 20 million illegal immigrants over the last several years. The president is trying to prevent genocide from happening any further to these people. They are clearly being discriminated against. Some have been murdered. This was an interesting spectacle in the Oval Office today, but it had to happen because I don't think anybody was telling the truth about it.
It absolutely had to happen. And I like the way Scott Jennings says so.
I think the South African president.
How many more deaths do we need before Democrats and legacy media says, okay, now it's okay to talk about it? I think that is a brilliant way of
initially came to.
And listen, here was NBC News. Check this out. In a tense meeting with South African President Trump plays video promoting false claims of white genocide. You see how it says false claims? Well, they had to correct their statement. And it says, in a tense meeting with South African President Trump plays videos promoting baseless. Instead of false, they switched to baseless claims of white genocide in the country. You don't hate legacy media enough. I'm telling you right now. They got called out for their false claims post. And then so they go, Trump plays video promoting baseless claims. It was literally there in the video. These people saying they wanted to kill white farmers. A 5-minute and 46-second video explaining and showing you what's going on in South Africa. Again, I think Trump's going to be able to leverage his negotiating skills, his powerful "you need me, I don't need you," to do something about this. But I mean, once again, we're seeing lamestream media. We're seeing all the Democrat influencers coming out and just between talking about Joe Biden's mental health is still great. Now they're saying, that this video was fraudulent. This video was fake. It's not real. It's a deep fake. Sounds very familiar when Joe Biden was sharp as a tack, when he couldn't complete sentences or answer questions, when he was pulled off stage, guided everywhere. The media told you you were crazy for thinking anything was wrong with Joe. And now that the truth's coming out, and now, again, we talked about it earlier, 51 intelligence officials concluded that the laptop was Russian disinformation. Has all the earmarks of Russian information operation. And there's still some people that are stupid enough to believe that. Believe it or not. I don't know how they get through the day, but they do. I just wanted to play this really quick. As you guys know, there is budget talks on the Hill right now. I'll just play a couple videos and I'll tell you my opinion on it. Again, I don't know of a budget on any side that just goes right through, but listen to this. This is what was this? Today. And it said, in a Republican Keith Self just announced he will vote against Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. This is huge news. Now, some Republicans are upset because Republicans have caved on the SALT. And that's the state and local taxes that they can. I think the cap was going to be $10,000. And actually, I got my mortgage statement. I would say I probably, on my federal taxes, have a tax write-off of over $10,000 because of property taxes here in California. So what they want to do is they want to, and I like this idea too, is punish. And unfortunately, it does punish people like me. I'll get over it. I'll be a big boy, pull up my pants and fight for it here on my state level. But like New York, New Jersey, and California, some of the highest taxed areas, they get an advantage that you people in Nevada, Texas, and Florida don't get. And so it's almost subsidizing the tax system in those states. But take a listen to this.
My concern about the deficit and the debt is tremendous. This bill in its entirety, the way it was written, we would go from 36 trillion now in debt to 56 trillion minimum if this bill goes through the way it is written, with no fraud, waste, and abuse taken out of Medicaid. We would own Obamacare, not repeal it.
Currently, the bill spends more money than the status quo. I mean, so it hurts the deficits.
If the speaker brings us to the floor tonight,
I think the bill's going to have problems.
My concern about the deficit and the debt
Some saying
is
the bill's going to have problems. Keep racking it out. GOP rep Rich McCormick signaling he's a yes, but said Trump is going to add trillions to the deficit. Listen.
Came to an agreement, again, to
could add to the deficit trillions.
It's going to. Absolutely. It's not as good as I want it to be. But if the Democrats should control the bill, it would be even bigger and more spending.
Critics on the conservative side are saying that this is too much, that it's going to blow up the price tag of this bill.
It doesn't. We worked within the framework with the speaker and the White House and came to an agreement, again, to provide tax relief to middle-class families.
And that last comment came from Congressman Mike Lawler, who had been negotiating a deal with the Speaker for days as part of a block of members, largely from New York and the Northeast, who wanted to increase the amount that taxpayers can deduct over the state and local taxes that they.
See, that was it. And again, I haven't used that word for that, but that's almost like a subsidy for those states, right? If you live in Florida or Tennessee, I don't know all the tax brackets, but for my house there, you might pay $3,000 a year in property taxes, or maybe even zero property taxes, where here we're paying a couple $100, equals like a couple $100 a month. I'll have to get my thing back out. It's on the kitchen table. I was reading it today during lunch. But so we have that going on. So Speaker Johnson did make a comment.
Guys, still have concerns. We're working.
Listen to
Are you still going to put this bill on the floor tonight? Are you going to give the Freedom Caucus more time like the demanded?
Look, we're going to have a discussion at the White House about that. We're trying to get the bill in its best possible form, and we're trying to meet our deadline for the votes. The president's called for it. We've been saying this for many months, and we can do it before Memorial Day, and I intend to hold to the schedule.
He says arbitrary deadline.
So he's going to go to the White House, meet with President Trump, see what they can figure out. I'm not happy with it the way it sits, but I won't be happy. It would be impossible. Our government would shut down if, and not because we didn't have the funding, but because people would refuse to vote on my bill. Again, I'm for cutting a lot of things. I'm for cutting the fat. The government doesn't need to control everything. People get upset at me. The government don't need to be involved in cancer research either. It's our government. Our government doesn't do anything efficiently. Let the private sector take care of it. Again, Medicaid. It should be very hard to get on Medicaid. You should be disabled, elderly. Trying to think if I can find anything else. Yeah, disabled or elderly. If you're an able-bodied person, get off your ass, go to work. Go find a job that has health insurance. A good portion of Americans do. But again, they want socialized medicine, and that's what they've been doing. When we covered, you have counties, what was it, David Valadez County, which is 30 miles from my house, 64% of people are on Medicaid. That's government health care. That's all that is. That's ridiculous. So we're going to get into California a little bit, guys. We're going to get into California, and it looks like a California Democrat got a DUI today after an accident. Of course, she's denying it, and she gets a special privilege that me and you wouldn't get. But it says Ashley Zavala reported 30 minutes before the Senate gavelled into session Monday. Senator Sabrina Cervantes got into this crash in which police thought she was under the influence, not of alcohol, but of drugs. And I want you to notice what Ashley Zavala says. It says, not clear why she was driving in the first place when lawmakers have drivers in Sacramento for the workday. So, first off, her sister, we'll get into it. Her sister also had a DUI. Her sister was also a politician and lost her last race, maybe because of the DUI. But I got a question. Why are we providing drivers around Sacramento? If you guys never been to Sacramento, it's I mean, even DC, you can get from point to point. But if we have this budget shortfall, and California continues to get deeper and deeper in the hole, why do we pay for these people to have drivers? What is up with that? And I just find that confusing. Originally, it came out that it was a DUI for alcohol, and that was clarified. It says the Sacramento Police Department clarifies officers cited State Senator Sabrina Cervantes for being under the influence of drugs. Now, I bet you these, again, she has a driver. She doesn't even need to drive. She was heading to the 1:30 session. So again, this was 2.5 hours ago. Take a look at this. It says Democrat State Senator Sabrina Cervantes detained for DUI months after her sister, Riverside City Council member Clarissa Cervantes, lost an assembly race in no small part to her own DUI arrest. And it puts up these two articles here. This was wrong. It says drunk driving. They clarified that. And this is her sister. A Riverside City Council member was arrested for her second DUI over the weekend, just weeks after she convinced a judge to dismiss her previous conviction, prompting for calls for her resignation. Clarissa Cervantes, 32, was arrested Saturday about 1:30 a.m. while traveling along the I-10 freeway in Banning. So, crazy. This one here. California State Senator from Riverside cited for DUI near state capitol. And listen to this. This will be a little interesting for you. It says the brief State Senator Sabrina Cervantes was cited for allegedly driving under the influence after a car crash in Sacramento. Cervantes vehemently denies the accusation, stating hospital lab results will show no alcohol in her system. She's thinking they're only looking for alcohol, folks. She's probably got another thing coming. Police determined she was under the influence at the hospital, but formal charges have not yet been filed. Imagine that. If it's me or you, they would be filed. And so it goes through the story here. Senator Sabrina Cervantes, a Democrat out of Riverside, California, was cited Monday in downtown Sacramento after she crashed with another vehicle around 1:30 p.m. in the area of 14th and S Streets, according to Sacramento police. Says Cervantes was taken to the hospital where police said she showed objective signs of intoxication, prompting a DUI investigation that led to the citation for suspicion of DUI. The Sacramento County District Attorney Office said in a statement, a filing decision will be made once toxicology results are completed and reviewed. When do you get that kind of due process? I've never heard that before. They usually, because when you sign that ticket or when you get that citation, it's not an admission to guilt. This is what you are being accused of, right? Then that goes to the DA, but you are, this makes no sense. The other side, Cervantes maintained she was falsely accused of DUI, alleging she was accosted by police officers and involuntarily detained for several hours at the hospital, playing the victim. I was wondering, what do you guys think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be prescription drugs? Is she hitting those oxys or those Norcos? Or was this something else? Because if you appear intoxicated, wonder what it was. It says this ordeal was deeply distressing and left me even more shaken. She wrote, as senator, wife, and mother, I hold myself to the highest standard and expect others to serve our communities to do the same. I want to be clear. I did nothing wrongs. The lab results I sought in the hospital show conclusively I had no alcohol in my system. I expect this to be quickly and justly resolved, she added. Be interesting. 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm going to guess it was some type of opiate. I'm going to guess it was an opiate. I could be wrong. It says the backstory, according to her biography on the California State Senate website, Cervantes was elected in November 2024 to represent the California State's 31st Senate District and is the immediate past chair of the California Latino Legislative Caucus. Interesting. And Politico put this this article out. It says prosecutors will wait for lab results before charging California Democrat with DUI. Man, Now, Gavin Newsom, again, talking about Trump's budget when his budget goes to illegal aliens. He shared this video, said the Republican budget will take money from America's poorest families. I just want to address some of these things. You know what took money from America's poorest families? The highest gas prices in the nation, the highest taxes in the nation, the highest fast food minimum wage. That all took from low-income families. That all took from the poor families here in California. Wasn't affecting the middle class, wasn't affecting the rich folks. Doesn't affect them. They could pay $2 more a gallon for gas. They're not even going to blink an eye. They can pay an extra $6 for a number 7 meal at McDonald's. Not going to affect them. But it is going to affect the poor people that Democrats say they're here for. Give money to America's richest families. Once again, that tax gives everybody a break. That tax deal. Cuts health care for 10 million plus Americans. He's not worried about Americans' health care. He's worried about illegal alien health care. And we're going to play a video here from Carl DeMaio that's going to show some of this. Take away food benefits for kids. Again, the government, Democrats in particular, wants you to live off the government. You want food? Be dependent on us, the government. And Republicans have something else. We're going to give you a hand up, not a handout. We want you to provide for yourself. You're capable of doing that. And we're going to provide an economy with great paying jobs that can do that. So you don't need to rely on the system. Listen to this.
Trump is on the Hill. Trump was just, you may have seen him walk in the halls just seconds ago, Senator, saying, don't, quote unquote, Trump is on the Hill. Trump was just, you may have seen him walk in the halls just seconds ago, Senator, saying, don't, quote unquote, fuck around with Medicaid.
There are so many things he could have done right. He could have increased taxes on billionaires. Instead, they added more tax cuts for the wealthiest. And then to pay for it, this is what they're looking at. 13.7 million people off Medicaid. He may have said that in that session to them, but they just are voting on a budget that there is no other way that you can get to that point with where their cuts are.
And Senator, just on that point, because I think it's so important, and I bring that up because it's so infuriating. It's so Orwellian. The devastation is actually outsized, profound, and extraordinary. It will also increase the national debt by a minimum of $3.3 trillion. Talk about saddling the next generation. So we do tax cuts to people literally who are not even asking for it.
Democrats are going to be united against this thing. We will be doing everything to force votes and push them on it. But
of course you will, the obstructionist party. Now, I want you to listen to this because we're talking about California. We got a California Democrat senator who going to be charged with DUI once the toxicology reports. Now, California, Raider 208 for the cuss jar. Thank you, Raider 208. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for being here. And Raider 208, thank you for contributing and keeping the lights on for us. We do appreciate it. We thank you guys for hitting that like button and sharing this out. I do want to mention that, again, this week we are already at our last show on Wednesday, so we have 2 days to raise a lot of money. I think we would need probably about $620 more is about where we're at now, just for the hotel in DC. It's about $897 to $933 is the cost for the hotel. I want to say $630 is what we have remaining. So thank you for donating. If you guys want to help out, we are going to DC for the military parade. We're going to be down there for a few days, and we're going to be bringing you guys a lot of coverage, protest, everything going on down there. We'll be by the White House, be by the Capitol, be on the National Mall. So if you guys want to help us out, I want to say thank you, first off, for the blessing and keeping us going. We are 100% viewer funded. If you guys would like to donate, you could go to Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army, GiveSendGo.com/Oreo 2024. And we also have Zelle. If you do online banking and you want to do a Zelle transfer, we can accept that as well. Head over to our website, theoreoexpress.com. our homepage. If you scroll down just a little bit, you can click the donate now button. It'll have our links and that Zelle link there too. And just want to say thank you. Listen to this. Again, we know in California, we had an assemblyman here in Fresno area try to pass a bill. I think it was vetoed by Gavin because he said the reason to veto, we didn't have the money, but wanted to give $100,000 or $150,000 payment assistance to illegals to buy a home in the state of California. Well, that's the same assemblyman that beat his children too, but that's besides the point. I want you to listen to this right here because, again, Gavin Newsom, you don't throw stones at from a glass house, right? You heard that saying. California, if it wasn't for our industry, if it wasn't for the beautiful climate here, and it wasn't for people being stuck here, California would not be your fourth largest economy in the world. And the only reason it is because of those things I mentioned. It isn't because of Democrat policies. More taxpayers. You know, Gavin keeps saying people are plowing into California. You know, the last statistic was people are coming into California. However, taxpayers are leaving. So those people that are coming, illegal aliens for free health care and for a free ride. Take a listen to this.
And yet we are doing nothing to I've only been a member of this august body for a little over 5 months. And in that time, I've seen a whole lot of hypocrisy on this floor, a lot of hypocritical and dishonest resolutions like the one we are debating today, AGR 3. This one, however, has to take the cake. It is the top of the list of the most hypocritical language and political posturing I have ever seen. To try to shift the blame for bad policies approved and imposed by this legislature and this governor. My colleague from Central Valley, she's correct. Democrats do not control the White House or the Congress, thank God. But they do control this state government. They have super majority control of this state government. And we have a Medicaid program in our state. It's called Medi-Cal. And right now, what have you done under your management? You've put it on the brink of financial collapse. And you were warned that this would happen. A year ago, when you said,
Mr. DeMaio, we are speaking on this resolution, aren't we? We are speaking on the resolution before us. We're not speaking about a year ago. We're speaking on the merits of the resolution in front of us.
We are speaking on what everyone in this body says this resolution stands for, and that is safeguarding the Medicaid program in the state of California. And so, Mr. Speaker, I will absolutely raise threats to the Medicaid program, Medi-Cal, imposed by this body because we are directing a resolution at the wrong party that is threatening the health care coverage of hundreds of thousands of poor families in the state of California.
Mr. DeMaio, I don't believe that a party is referenced in this resolution.
This resolution is about Medicaid and Medi-Cal.
This resolution is about the federal government, and you're speaking of the state government, which is very appropriate.
Mr. Speaker.
Excuse me, Mr. DeMaio, which is very appropriate. We're not referencing political parties.
Okay.
Excuse me?
Good to know that we have that new rule in effect, and that's fine. I will confine my comments to not political parties, but what this majority and this governor have done to the Medi-Cal program. You've put it on the brink of financial insolvency, and that was a choice you made. And that's also a choice that 2 weeks ago you had an opportunity to reverse. We offered an amendment to save Medi-Cal for poor people in our state, and you unanimously rejected that amendment. That amendment would have said no more illegal immigrants should be given free taxpayer-funded health care. In our budget, the only threat we have to Medicaid, Medi-Cal in our state is a threat created by this body. We are seeing the federal government now go through every invoice that the state of California has submitted for reimbursement on Medi-Cal for the past several years. And it is quite possible, quite probable, that the state of California taxpayers are going to be penalized for decisions made by this body and this governor, and that will further erode the financial stability of Medi-Cal. And yet we are doing nothing to prepare for that. We're talking billions of dollars in reimbursements that are likely going to be clawed back. The Department of Health and Human Services at the federal level, rightfully so, is doing an investigation, an audit of the state of California Medi-Cal program. You know it, I know it, but the media doesn't report on it. And if that audit shows that we, the state of California, the governor, misappropriated funds, covered ineligible people with federal funds, guess what? Those dollars will have to now be absorbed by the state general fund, and we don't have the money. So that means more doctors, more nurses, more hospitals, more health clinics not being reimbursed for services for citizens. That means poor people going without healthcare coverage, not being able to see a doctor or a nurse. Oh, spare me the grandstanding with a resolution like this when you're given clear evidence that Medi-Cal is headed for collapse. So much so that the governor had to rush not one, but 2 emergency loans in the dead of night. You want to talk about the dead of night? $6.4 billion in emergency loans, and this body didn't even do an oversight hearing on that nonsense. You stand here with the resolution and you hope that the voters aren't paying attention to the policies that you have approved and that you had an opportunity to reverse just 2 weeks ago, and you chose to play politics. I'm voting against a resolution that does not accurately reflect the crisis we face, not imposed by the federal government.
30 seconds.
They're simply holding us to account for breaking the law, for breaking the rules of Medicaid. That was a decision, a choice willingly done by this state government and this governor. And this legislature sat by and rubber stamped it 2 weeks ago. The sooner you wake up and change that policy, the sooner we can safeguard Medicaid, Medi-Cal, health services for the most.
We've been calling it. We told you that HHS was doing an investigation and an audit into California, the misappropriation of funds, which the federal funds cannot be used to insure illegal aliens under the Medicaid program, which in California we know as Medi-Cal. Those, as Carl DeMaio said there, they're going to claw back those funds. And California is going to blame Trump. When the fact is that these Democrats, which you're not allowed to say Democrats or talk about political parties, I thought that was interesting, that these Democrats were warned about this. They knew about it. 2 loans, $6.4 billion. The first loan we spoke about, I want to say it was mid-March. We told you what was it, 3.6. And then another loan because Medi-Cal was contacting the governor's office saying, we have bills we need to pay and we don't have any money left. Think about that. That is Gavin Newsom. That is the state of California. And they're doing a resolution to try to blame the federal government. These people are absolutely
neediest
insane.
Of Californian.
Absolutely insane. I thought another one was Senator Suzette Valladares. She says, as a legislator from both sides of the aisle, we don't always see eye to eye. But on this, we stand together. When refineries shut down or leave the state, it's working families who pay the biggest price. As California is faced with the possibility of $8 per gallon of gas. I did an article today. I wrote a post today stating that the average gallon of gas throughout the United States is $3.09 and expected to go lower through a holiday weekend because of President Trump's energy policies. And here we are, at least in the Central Valley, we're at $5.09 a gallon. And it's expected to increase in July, 64 cents again, and up to $8 a gallon over the next year and a half. And this one says, as California is faced with the possibility of $8 per gallon, we're calling on Governor Gavin Newsom to take action to protect California families. And this is a letter, and if you guys are just new to this or been sleeping during the live streams, we've covered the reason why. Even Gavin Newsom said it was price gouging and spent your taxpayer dollars to audit, Chevron and Valero and all these companies and realized, oh, It's actually our policies, Democrat policies and regulation that's causing these gas prices to be so much higher than the nation. This one says, Dear Governor Newsom, we write this to express serious concerns over the projected refinery closures in California, including facilities in Los Angeles and the Bay Area, and the consequences these shutdowns could have on working families, especially, maybe this will wake them up, Hispanic communities across the state. It says, our families are already being squeezed by the rising cost of living. Gasoline is not a luxury. It's a basic need for millions of working Californians, particularly those industries like construction, agriculture, and service work, who often drive long distances and work shifts that the public transit doesn't accommodate. Analysts have predicted gas prices could soar past $8 per gallon by 2026 if these refinery closures proceed unchecked. For Hispanic families who are more likely to live paycheck to paycheck, this isn't just convenience, it's destabilizing. And so it says, we urge your administration to examine which legislative and executive actions, regulatory directives, or permitting restrictions have contributed to the state refinery closures. Remember, Gavin Newsom didn't want you to be able to buy a gas vehicle after, was it 2035 in the state of California? Already right now, guys, if I want to go buy a weed eater, I have to travel to Arizona or Nevada if I want a gas-powered weed eater in the state of California. I'm not making this up. It has to be electric. That's what these Democrats have done to this state. Do you think all this stuff, this cap and trade, all these things, all these regulations, these restrictions, and they're still claiming climate change? Well, so everything you've done, all the burdens you've put on the taxpayer, all the burdens you've put on the people have done nothing? Exactly, because it's not man-made. So that'll be interesting. Again, Gavin Newsom is a whole hell of a lot of trouble. And if he thinks he's going to be, he already, a couple weeks ago, I don't remember the exact thing, but we covered it, and he sent it to the regulatory, sent a letter, I think it was like to the regulatory committee or commission to see what they could do about these refineries leaving California when he's the reason they're leaving. Check this out. Of course, House Democrats, with everything going on in the world, House Democrats are worried about murdering children. Listen to this.
Republicans have already decimated access. I'm a proud co-sponsor of Leader Jeffrey's amendment protecting Medicaid and SNAP. And my Democratic colleagues have done an excellent job laying out.
Wait for her to turn her mic on.
Our deficit is a triple threat to the American people. But unfortunately, it doesn't end there. I'm offering an additional amendment that strikes a provision that would defund Planned Parenthood. Speaker Johnson recently said about this provision, it is about going after, quote, big abortion. But he knows better than that. We all know the federal government doesn't pay for abortion care. We all know Republicans have already decimated access to safe abortions in this country. So what does this provision actually do? It further defunds women's health care. It defunds
Taking the money out of Planned Parenthood defunds women's health care. You can't make this up, guys. You can't.
cancer screenings, prenatal care, postpartum services, fertility treatments, preventative care. 96% of Planned Parenthood's clinical work has nothing to do with abortion.
Then I'm all okay with funding Planned Parenthood if they get rid of abortion then. which all her numbers are fictitious, fake numbers. Planned Parenthood has been caught selling body parts, doing a whole lot of things. Like how they stay open and how Democrats can defend them is beyond me. Beyond me. I just thought that was absolutely interesting. And then we had some more epic stuff today
in the United States
on Capitol Hill with some of the hearings. Marco Rubio gets the award again today. No, it was RFK Jr. yesterday, I think, got the award. Listen to him right here. And we got two videos of this. One's a little longer. I want to play the short one first because it gets to the point. And we'll discuss this.
Was a guest in the United States on a student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa.
So you
we deny
revoked her
visas every
student
day,
visa
and we will revoke and
based
continue
on
to
an
revoke
op-ed
visas.
which trumps the land, which is the Constitution.
Someone's coming up
You
here to stir
clearly-
up problems on our campus. We're going to revoke their visa.
She didn't
They're
do any of
guests.
that. She wrote an op-ed.
Well,
She
that's
wrote
what
an
you
op-ed,
claim.
and I'm talking to you about her
That's her
particular
lawyer's
case.
claims and your
you
claims. Those are not the facts.
You reclaiming my time. You revoked her student visa
Yes,
because
proudly.
she wrote an op-ed.
And
Would
we'll do
you
more.
revoke?
We're going to do more.
I
of them.
haven't.
We will revoke the visa of anyone who's in this country as a guest
Are
who's
you
here to
are
stir
you
up
going to
trouble.
revoke the visa of somebody who made
Send me
that?
the case.
that,
I'll look at it.
that
I'm
statement?
looking
well,
to get crazy people
actually,
out of our
it's
country.
not just about revoking.
Forward
You
to
actually,
revoking the visas
Secretary
of any
Rubio,
lunatics you
excuse
can
me,
identify.
reclaiming my time. If these are legitimate law enforcement agents carrying out proper arrests, why are they hiding their identities?
Because then radical crazies will try to hurt them.
So
He's getting the award again today. Listen, this was a longer exchange, but I just love it. Listen to what he says. That's your claim, and that's her attorney's claim, but that's not what the facts represent. Just like Maryland dad, his poor kids, and it turns out he beat his wife. Those weren't even his biological children. Turns out he did human trafficking. Turns out he was part of MS-13. These are the people that Democrats are siding with, folks. Take a listen to this.
Immigration
one.
and
I just love
Nationality
Marco
Act
Rubio
trumps
after
the
this one.
Constitution of the
Almost
United
in tears.
Where in the Constitution does it say that the Secretary of State can override the First Amendment protections of free speech? Is there a
Constitution-
footnote that I missed
There's
somewhere?
no constitutional right to a student visa.
So, but is there
Student visa's a
a
privilege.
constitutional right? Does it say somewhere that Marco Rubio gets to determine which speech is appropriate and revoke student visas based on what you think constitutes free speech?
There's a statute that says the Secretary of State gets to determine whether someone is a threat. We deny visas
Do you
every day
think
all
that
over the
the
world. and we'll
INA?
continue-
Do you think that the Immigration and Nationality Act trumps the Constitution of the United States, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Congress can always change the law if you want, but I'm telling you,
Mr.
in the meanwhile, I
Secretary,
have the
let
authority.
me
I
be
will
clear.
continue to revoke the visas of these people that come here to
You
tear this
said that,
country
Mr. Secretary.
because
Let
they're
me
on
reclaim
student
my
visas. They're
time
guests.
because you are talking about revoking student visas based on what somebody says, and that means that you are trumping the legal Supreme Court, the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution of the United States.
No one has
why
a right
did
to a
the
student
administration,
visa.
Mr. Rubio, why did the
Privilege.
administration need to use masked, armed, unidentified agents to whisk somebody off the street and deny her counsel for almost 24 hours after
Well,
her
you'll
arrest?
have to ask the agencies that did that work.
Well,
I'm
you
not
have-
responsible for that. I'm responsible for
but-
revoking the visas of these people that come to tear
Secretary
this country
Rubio,
apart.
I'm talking
Never
about
should have
this
allowed 'em in.
particular case where you revoked the student visa of a Turkish citizen who was a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that you didn't like. And suddenly you allowed for masked men to whisk her off the street. And you have multiple jobs, apparently. You're the national security advisor as well. So don't tell me it's not your job who snatches her off the street.
We don't do
If
the
these
snatching,
are
but I can tell you we
legitimate-
do the visa
Let
revocations,
me
and
ask
we're
you
going to
about
keep
the
doing them.
national security consequences of people, masked men on the streets, snatching people off the streets. If these are legitimate law enforcement agents carrying out proper arrests, why are they hiding their identities?
Because then radical crazies will try to hurt them.
So
Because
you
we
so
know
you
when we've
think that
seen-
U.S. agents who have almost always gone without face coverings, even when they're arresting
I
some
can't
of the
speak
most
to law
some of
enforcement
the
functions. We're
country's
not a law
most
enforcement
dangerous
agency.
criminals, suddenly have so much to fear from a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that they need to be masked?
Again,
Is that
that law
accurate?
student was a guest in the United States on a student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa.
So
We
you
deny
revoked her
visas every
student
day,
visa
and we will
on
revoke and
based
continue
on
to
an
revoke
op-ed
visas.
which trumps the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution.
Someone's coming up
You
here to stir
clearly-
up problems on our campus. We're going to revoke their visa.
She didn't
They're
do any of
guests.
that. She wrote an op-ed.
Well,
She
that's
wrote
what
an
you
op-ed,
claim.
and I'm talking to you about her
That's her
particular
lawyer's
case.
claims and your claims. Those are not the facts.
You reclaiming my time. You revoked her student visa
Yes,
because
proudly.
she wrote an op-ed.
Yes,
And
Would you
proudly.
revoke?
We're gonna do more of
I
them.
have another question
And we're going to do more of them. I just love this.
for you. Would you revoke the visa of someone in the United States who published claims that, quote, Jews are an untrustworthy and dangerous group? Yes or no?
We will revoke the visa of anyone who's in this country as a guest
Are
who's
you
here to stir up
going to
trouble.
revoke the visa of somebody who made
Send me
that?
the case,
that
I'll look at it.
that
I'm looking
statement?
to get crazy people out of
actually,
our
it's not
country.
just about revoking.
Forward
You
to
actually,
revoking the
Secretary
visas of any
Rubio,
lunatics you
excuse
can
me,
identify.
reclaiming my time. Can you explain to me why the Trump administration granted refugee status to Charles Kleinhaus, the white Afrikaner who tweeted that exact statement that I just said? There's the case.
That's not a visa.
You who granted
That's not
that
a
person
visa.
to
That's a
enter the
totally
United
different process.
States.
That's someone that applied here through a totally different process.
Secretary Rubio,
student visas are a privilege.
Secretary
we deny
Rubio,
them all the time,
you
and we'll revoke them.
revoked
And-
a visa based on an op-ed, and then you allowed for masked men to
That's your
snatch
claim. That's
somebody off
accurate. That's
the
your claim.
street.
Your time's
That's your claim.
expired.
That's your claim. That's not accurate.
Recognized ranking member.
Okay, I don't know if there's like this. Trump pulled Marco Rubio in, and there was this little bag, looked like saline solution, and it was MAGA serum, and he had to take that, and he woke up like the Hulk. But he has been killing it. And again, I'm not a big fan. I'm still on the fence. I mean, you got to prove for a couple years, but what I'm seeing, I am liking. He's like, and we're going to do more. You come into this country, it's a privilege. You're crazy. We're shipping you out. Bye. I'm revoking your visa. And just totally laid down the foundation and shows once again, who are Democrats fighting for? Not American citizens, anti-American students that are in the country, illegal aliens that are in the country. I'll tell you what, I seen a post today, and it was in the Oval Office, and it was Marco Rubio sitting by J.D. Vance. And it says 2028 above it. And I started thinking, J.D. Vance is doing a great job. If Marco Rubio keeps what he's doing up for the rest of the presidency, and you had a Vance-Rubio presidential ticket, that could be pretty epic. Again, we got a long time. We don't even know. Again, we don't know if Marco Rubio will be there in a year. We know how things go. But right now, I'm going to say he's killing it. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I wish that our attorney general killed it like he did. I really do. Check this out. This is Senator Bernie Moreno. And listen to him explain to, what is it? I think it's Senator Dick Durbin. Because Democrats love calling illegal alien immigrants. They're not immigrants. Immigrants come here legally. They wait in line. And I just want you to listen to this because I thought it was a very great response to this.
I like to believe that my family and virtually all of the immigrant families have made this a stronger nation.
And on a personal note, to the ranking member's comments, I appreciate that very much. And if you come to my office, you'll see my H-1B visa. You'll see my naturalization certificate. I was extraordinarily proud. One of the moments I remember more than anything else in my life was the ability to raise my right hand and pledge allegiance to the United States of America and be welcomed to this country. I would ask you and all the members of this committee to understand that that moment is so important. And we have to honor the people who followed the law to come here legally, who patiently waited to become a U.S. citizen and be welcomed here, and to stop rewarding people who break our laws, skip in line of those in front of us.
Couldn't agree more. We reward those that cheat, lie, cheat, and steal to get into this country. How about this? EPA Commissioner Lee Zeldin just plows through Senator Whitehouse right here. Listen to this.
Review of 781.
Under oath telling you that I was conducting an
stated them.
individual review of everything. And that concept doesn't work for you.
When did you conduct an individualized
Work on it
review
every
of
single day,
781
because
grants?
we have a zero tolerance
Will you
policy
show me
towards
your
waste
schedule?
dollars. We inherit something. You don't care about wasting money.
Will you show me
You
your
don't care
schedule?
about wasting money, but the Trump administration does, Senator.
Will you show me your schedule?
Our schedule's publicly released. We don't put on the schedule every single moment
Will you
of the
show me
day
your
that
schedule
it's
to
publicly
prove
released.
your assertion
I'm
that
here
you
under
did
oath,
individualized
Senator.
review of
They're
781?
under oath telling you that I was reviewing this stuff and working on it almost every single day.
And the
Why?
problem
Because
with
when I
that-
was before this committee, I was asked by Senator Ricketts, if confirmed, would I immediately make this a top priority to go through all the grant funding going through EPA to make sure that we are cracking down on every waste, every aspect of abuse, because I have to come back here in front of Senator Ricketts today. And even though you don't care about wasting tax dollars, Senator Ricketts does.
And the
I'm going to
problem-
do my job because the American public
And the
cares
problem-
about us not wasting tax dollars.
And the problem with your assertion here today is that it is belied by your own employees' sworn statements in court and by the decision of the
Senator,
Department of
you're not
Justice
grasping
to
the fact-
admit that what you
No,
say
you're
isn't
not grasping
true.
the fact that we would have multiple employees looking at these grants. That concept just escapes you like that's even a possibility.
The only
You
thing
come
about
here
that is that
and
that's
you
not
don't care
true.
about 99% of this story.
That's not true according to your own
You don't.
employees'
You're not grasping
testimony.
It, Senator. I don't know what to say to you. You're insisting on the fact.
I'm
that
insisting on the facts.
that
That's
he
exactly
only-
what I'm insisting
Yes,
on. I'm
okay.
insisting on the facts, and I now have
I will
three
say
different
again
versions of the facts,
that Travis
including
Hoyles
Department
and
of
I
Justice
and others
lawyers
are working on this every
who
single day
admitted
that
in
we're
court that
office.
what you're saying
and we're
now
not going
is
to
not
waste
true.
dollars just because you insist on EPA lighting taxpayer dollars on fire. The American taxpayers, they put President Trump in office because of people like you. They have Republicans in charge of the House and Senate because of people like you, because you don't care about 99% of this story. You don't want me to go through the list of all the evidence of waste and abuse. You
No,
don't
what I
care
want you to do,
in conflicts of interest.
What I
don't
want
care
you to
about
do-
unqualified recipients. You don't care about
What I
reduced
want you to
agency
do-
oversight.
Man, I never thought I could be fire. He gets 25% of the Marco Rubio award today. 25% of the Marco Rubio award today. He just called him out. He goes, you don't care about burning down, lighting American tax dollars on fire. But some of us do. And it's people like you that got Trump elected. He just fire. Oh man. I love me some Lee Zeldin, man. He has been pretty good on fire. I wanted to cover some stuff. We talked about it a little while ago. We had charges up against one of our congresswomen who assaulted ICE. And I thought this was interesting. I'm going to pull up the article. I found it right before I went live, so I didn't. I'll read the headline and then I'll read the article because I could learn something as well. It says, a judge slammed federal prosecutors for dropping charges against Newark's Democrat mayor, calling the move embarrassing and saying it suggested a failure to adequately investigate after he was charged following his ICE visit. Now, I'm going to tell you that is a very confusing headline because slammed federal prosecutors. Did you want the case to continue to go on? That's what it sounds like to me, but knowing that it says the Justice Department charged Newark Mayor Ross Baracco with trespassing. Okay, go on. Oh, it's going to do one of these things. Never mind. We'll find out. We'll move on. This is Rep. LaMonica McIver after being charged for assaulting ICE. Listen to this. Again, this is the party that raided Melania Trump's panty drawer with an FBI raid of a former president's home. So let's just keep that in mind.
Well, I think, one, this is political intimidation from the Trump administration. I mean, me being charged is absurd, especially when I'm just there to do my job. The confusion and drop the charges, as you can see, creating an unsafe environment for us as members of Congress, the mayor, and peaceful.
Creating an unsafe environment. These people literally brought protesters and were assaulting federal ICE agents. Think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. And now, again, we got to play the Democrat card. She hasn't brought up race yet that I know of, but the race thing's coming. It's because she's black is the reason she was charged. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Protesters that were outside of this facility. Once again, it was so unnecessary and it didn't have to be.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But Nancy Mace tweeted this earlier. We have just filed an official resolution to expel Monica McIver from the U.S. House of Representatives. No one is above the law. Assault is a crime, and the American people deserve better. I hear Democrats saying, well, she hasn't went to court. She hasn't done any of this. She's innocent. It's political persecution. Now, there's somebody I don't like, and some of you do, and I can't get through my head why you do. I can't stand the guy. George Santos was charged and not convicted and expelled from Congress. Democrats were okay to vote. Even some Republicans were okay to expel him from Congress. He didn't have his day in court. We didn't know if he was going to be guilty or innocent. So you've already set a precedent here. Is that precedent going to continue, Democrats? You know what? Let me look at that really quick. Let me see something. I want to see what the vote record was that day to expel George Santos from Congress. 311 to 114. 206 Democrats and 105 Republicans voted in favor of expulsion. That was on December 1st, 2023. 112 Republicans voted against the expulsion. So it seems like we have precedents. Crazy, huh? Crazy. I wanted to play another video. Where are we at? 107, we're good. And again, just prove to you that while you're struggling still, you're still feeling the effects of Joe Biden's high prices, the inflation that has taken over, and all Democrats done is obstruct Trump's administration and his ways to the solution to the problem. I want you to listen to this here and see who's this person representing.
Well-founded fear of persecution from gangs back in El Salvador. The first Trump administration never. My amendment simply states that this bill will not go into effect until the Trump administration is able to return all the people who it admits it has deported in error. It is a stain on our country that this list of people wrongfully deported continues to grow. We all know about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. This is a father.
Oh, here we go with the father. It's not a father.
A husband to an American citizen who had what is called withholding of removal. This is a legal immigration status that specifically blocked him from being removed to El Salvador. And he won that status during the first Trump administration in 2019 by proving that he posed absolutely no threat to public safety and that he had a well-founded fear of persecution from gangs back in El Salvador. The first Trump administration never appealed that decision. Now the Trump administration has violated.
Since then, his so-called American citizen wife got a protection order, called the cops, under oath said that she was afraid of him, that he would beat her, said that she has marks left on her, was also pulled over, I think it was in Virginia, for human trafficking, was trafficking illegals, was in a car owned by a human trafficker that was in prison, has ties to MS-13. Even the court said that. And she's leaving all that out.
The court decision kidnapped him in front of his 5-year-old son.
Not his son. The father actually went to court to petition to get his son removed away from the MS-13 gang member. But hey, what do we know? We only read the story. We actually tell the story.
And shipped him off to El Salvador, the one place in the world that they were legally barred from sending him. They sent him to be locked up in a foreign gulag with the very gang members that he had just escaped, and they are using our taxpayer dollars, all of our money, to pay for him to be imprisoned over there. Now,
if she was so worried about your taxpayer dollars, would she have been cheerleading for Joe Biden's open border? She did nothing for 4 years. She lied and said it would take an act of Congress. She said there was a bipartisan border bill that would have still let millions of illegal aliens in per day. Our border patrol would still not be protecting the border, but they would be giving water and sandwiches to the thousands and thousands of illegals coming over today. It would allow 5,000 illegals in per day. After 5,000, the next 2,500 would be directed to the port of entry and all would be let in. Only until it hit that point would we shut down our borders from illegal entry. I think I've reported on this kind of stuff for a while.
the administration didn't deny that they deported him in error. They admitted that they deported him in error. And in a normal world, they would have tried to bring him back. And if they really thought he was a danger to the community, they should have gone through the legal process of presenting that information to a court to try to strip him of his legal protections. But that's not at all what they did. They doubled down. They insisted without any new evidence that he was an MS-13 gang member. They went as far as to hold up a photoshopped picture of his tattoos. This is desperation. When you don't have real evidence, you Photoshop things. Meanwhile, every single court that has looked at this case, including the Supreme Court, found that the administration was in the wrong, and the Supreme Court ruled unanimously, 9-0, that the administration needed to facilitate the return of Mr. Abrego Garcia. Every person in this country wants the Trump administration to abide by the courts and by judges' decisions, and they are willfully defying that and deporting people, including people who have legal status. This is not about going after the worst of the worst that the bills keep bringing up. This is about deporting wrongfully people, sending them to other countries, and refusing to obey even the Supreme Court. I would like for the other side to vote on this amendment that says nothing in this bill goes into effect until you return those wrongfully deported people and you obey the Supreme Court.
Wants to hold up, wants to raise your taxes, wants to jeopardize the future of our economy for criminal, illegal aliens. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm not going to say it. Not going to say it. I'll keep my channel for another day. And speaking of another one who ICE has denied a request for Mahmoud Khalil to hold his newborn baby, wife and ACLU say. Man, I have no problem, and I don't mind using taxpayer dollars to fly the wife and that baby out of the country back to their home country. I have no problem. Wherever that Khalil wants to go, where he wants to be deported to, I have no problem with that. And he can hold that baby all he wants while he speaks his anti-American, pro-jihadist speech somewhere else. Check this out. ICE agents outside a Phoenix immigration court rounded up migrants after they showed up for asylum hearings. As Tom Homan said, if you're in this country illegally, there is no safe place to hide. And that's what we're seeing here. Let me see which one this is. I think we got two different videos. Let's play the first one.
Throughout the day, watching this happen time and time again. Vans will pull up, they'll fill it with what we think are people here who told us that they were coming for an asylum case, that they were then told it was dismissed. They would put them in the vans, they drive away, another van would pull up. I also talked to someone who was actually in the building, who walked out, who works in the building, not from the court itself and the Social Security aspect of the building, and said he saw 7 or 8 ICE agents just waiting in the lobby outside for when these people come out of their court cases to detain them. So we also spoke to a woman who was from Colombia, who said she came here for an asylum case and was told it was dismissed and then was detained. Take a listen to what she had to say.
¿Cuánto tiempo llevaban acá? Tengo un año. ¿Estaba en algún proceso de asilo? ¿Entró con CIVIC igual? Sí, entré con CIVIC igual. Es mi primera corte. ¿Es tu primera corte? Sí. ¿Y qué es lo que pasó? Pues me desestimaron el caso, pero los agentes...
I don't know why, but
Watching throughout the day, watching
people that haven't been there, or if you haven't been watching this, if I didn't know what I did, and I didn't know what these people have done, and I didn't know that they all have been coached and are trying to destroy our asylum process. We interviewed most of these people, a lot of these people on the border. We talked to these people. We talked to the coyotes that were bringing them over. And we also know Catholic Charities and other HIAS and other groups like that were coaching them in South America, in Mexico, to tell them what to say for an asylum claim, because they were coming here for the benefits, the taxpayer-funded benefits. Some were coming here for economic reasons, which is not an asylum claim. And so I don't have this poor me. What I do have is, when I look, I'm going to take care of God, family, country, right? And in that order. And if I look at family, my son is in debt at 4 years old. My other kids are in debt. Not because of their spending, but because of the government spending. And we are spending billions and trillions of dollars on illegal aliens, whether it's healthcare, whether it's educating them, whether it's the housing, whether it's EBT, all these things. And it was all done purposely under the Biden administration. Democrats did nothing. I don't feel like somebody's, well, don't you feel? No, again, these people cut in line. You know who I feel for? The people that were doing it legally. The people that did it legally.
And then detaining them. I want you to take a look at this video that we caught earlier today, and we've been... Hey, Jordan, look, I want to paint the picture here. We're outside the Phoenix Immigration Court, where we've been since about 9:30 a.m. We actually were a little bit closer, but we got kicked off by the local security guards here. But let me tell you what's been happening. ICE agents, federal agents, have been waiting in front of the building here for people to come out and then detaining them. I want you to take a look at this video that we caught earlier today, and we've been catching throughout the day, watching this happen time and time again. Vans will pull up, they'll fill it with what we think are people here who told us that they were coming for an asylum case, that they were then told it was dismissed. They would put them in the vans, they drive away, another van would pull up. I also talked to someone who was actually in the building, who walked out, who works in the building, not from the court itself and the Social Security aspect of the building, and said he saw 7 or 8.
Seen that part of it. So there was also some other news. Tweets reported. Let me see if the next one pulls up right here. This is the press release from the Arizona House Democrats. And let me guess, I haven't had to read it yet, but I already know it's putting illegal aliens ahead of American citizens. And this is what it says here. House Democrats respond to ICE arrest outside Phoenix Immigration Court. And it says Arizona House Democrat leadership released the following statement regarding ICE sending armed masked agents to a Phoenix immigration court to detain families attending hearings. Trump's cruel mass deportation machine is showing up in our community again, said caucus whip Quanta Cruz. What is happening outside the Phoenix Immigration Court is horrifying. Agents waited in the shadows. They targeted mothers and fathers who were following the law. People showed up for their hearing in good faith and were taken into custody when they just walked out. Some were arrested in front of their children. There was no warning, no legal counsel, just arrest and a bus waiting to take them away. This is not immigration enforcement. This is government-sponsored trauma. It is fear-based governments that tears families apart and silences entire communities. These actions go against the principle of due process, human dignity, and democracy. To everyone who is navigating the immigration system, please do not go to court alone. Bring an attorney if you can. If not, bring a trusted friend, faith leader, or family member who is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. We need witnesses. We need documentation. We need each other. Stay safe, stay connected, stay prepared. We will not be silent in the face of injustice. We will keep fighting with compassion and the power of community. That's a great written thing, comrade. We love being part of that communist Democrat party. Once again, let me see if I can find something here. Let's go to Arizona House Democrats Twitter page and see if they've posted anything about American citizens getting jobs, getting higher pay, anything that like Americans actually want. Let's see. I'm gonna pull it up for you. There's another statement on ICE. This isn't outrageous. So that's 3 hours ago. 1 hour ago, their press release. 1 hour ago. What's this? Tribal leaders and digital letters. Oh, they got a new alert. We have an ebony alert for when it's a missing person for a black person. It's all about dividing based on background, ethnicity, or color. So now they have one for Indians called a turquoise alert. So that was, again, more of the wokeness and dividing us. Nothing for you, the American citizen. Nothing. I didn't think we'd find anything. Congressman Delia C. Ramirez. My office received reports that ICE is conducting detentions at the Chicago immigration courts. Going on in Chicago, too, it sounds like. Noam and the administration have proven they can't be trusted to conduct lawful operations. I am demanding answers. You have the answers. Trump is the president. He's already said, we'll go anywhere it takes to remove illegal aliens. That's what we were voted to do. Close the border, remove illegal aliens. And despite all the opposition, all the coaching, and even the assaults on federal law enforcement, they're going to get it done. Take a look. Today, I was alerted that there were immigrations and customs enforcement agents detaining people at the Chicago Immigration Court. This administration has a pattern of abusing its authority to wrongfully detain people and strip them of their due process, which is why I demand immediate answers to the following questions. Can you explain why ICE agents were present at the Chicago Immigration Court? I'm going to go ahead and answer these for her. So that way, Mr. Lyons, Todd Lyons, doesn't have to. Because if you're in this country illegally, it's a crime. We're going to arrest you and deport you. Okay, that was simple. Mr. Todd Lyons, no need to pay me. While ICE agents were there, how many people did they pick up? Of those they picked up, how many did they place in expedited removal proceedings? I don't have an exact number for you, but I can tell you we're going to expedite every removal process. Can you clarify if ICE agents were detaining people based on a list of targeted individuals? We targeted anybody that was in the country illegally. We have heard reports that ICE agents in plain clothing were soliciting information from attorneys on the ground without disclosing and identifying themselves as ICE agents. Can you confirm that is the policy of the Department of Homeland Security, that all ICE agents must identify themselves as ICE agents? You don't have to identify yourself. Just like an undercover officer or people that work under FBI's undercover, they're always out there. This is part of their investigative tactic. If they can go in there plain clothes and get information from attorneys, kudos to them. So I'll write that all up in a response and send it back to her. I should do a tweet, huh? Oh, and then the last but not least, right at 124, we're doing good. Throughout the Los Angeles area today, IMMDEF observed ICE agents inside an immigration courtroom, detaining people after government attorneys moved to dismiss their case. There were 2 ICE officers inside the courtroom who would notify the officers sitting in the hallway when the case was dismissed. Again, if you're going to obstruct our federal law enforcement officials, I mean, I'm not going to say that. This is what I voted for. And it's unfortunate. I honestly, and I know it won't happen, I would rather the Democrats say, okay, we lost the damn election. Let's compromise. And I told you this before. The people here that were giving temporary DACA protection. Now listen to me. Those DACA people that, and there has to be a list of rules. If you haven't lived off the government, if you haven't lived off the taxpayer, if you've been a hardworking person, you pay your taxes and you don't have a criminal history, I think it would be awesome to have those people. I know quite a few of them. I'm friends with some of them. Have those people be able to be eligible for a process for expedited citizenship. Now, if they sat here and did nothing and popped out babies all day and been on welfare for 5 years, back to mama. Now, with that being said, those people have been here for 18, 20 years. I get it. Now, if you came in illegally, especially the 21 million people that came in under Joe Biden illegally, deport immediately. And again, they have done a great job of prioritizing. They've got rapists, murderers, child molesters, terrorists. They're trying to do it all. But if there's people here that truly love this country, because I would get rid of some of these liberals. I would deport them and give some of those DACA recipients their spot in America. And I'm being facetious there, but I think you know what I mean. There's a lot of people that love this country, want to do what's right. And if Democrats could admit they've lost, and instead of, they're still talking about January 6th, for God's sakes. It's not going well for them. And they think if they keep digging in their heels somehow, they're hoping that the media will cover this like the media does. And when I say media, I'm talking legacy media, not real media. And so we'll have to see how all that works out. But that is the show for today. Guys, don't forget, we're trying to, we're about, I don't know, 6:30 away is what I think. I'm going to look here. I didn't see anything. No, that was after Raider 28. About 6:30 away from our goal from getting a hotel that we want to get reserved by Friday. So if you guys want to help out, and we have a trip to DC in 3 weeks, actually tomorrow, it'll be 3 weeks on the nose that we will be flying out of here to DC. We're meeting Matt down there, and Matt's going to go down there. They have the military parade celebrating 250 years of our military. One that the liberals are all triggered about. We'll be obviously covering all kind of different stuff in DC for the few days we're down there. And we have our plane ticket. So we just got to get that, get the hotel and rental car, and we'll be top notch, ready to go. So if you guys want to help out and donate to us, we appreciate it. We are 100% viewer funded. Head over to Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army, or givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. And then don't forget, as always, we have a Zelle link if you do online banking. Raider 208. Oh, let's go. Right on, Raider 208. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. I got to write this down so I can keep track and not have to add up every time. So 610. But want to say thank you guys for everybody who has helped out. We do have a Zelle on our website. You can go to our website, theoreoexpress.com, guys, and you can do a bank transfer through there. We appreciate you. We appreciate everybody that has helped us out. We can't do it without you guys. You guys is what makes the wheels go round and round, round and round. And before we get going, we got to talk about coffee. Once again, I just finished my protein with 4 shots of espresso. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, and there's only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic, a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's political opinions, and a black 1775 tumbler that says, I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch. That's $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. These are for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe. So again, Raider 208 and anybody else, let me just double check this really quick, make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did. Nope, that should be V for Venmo. Old Uncle Bill, thank you from yours earlier. It is appreciated. Let's see. Nope. All right. So thank you guys. And again, if you want to help out, we appreciate the blessing. Have a great day. And we might go live if something pops off tonight. We will be around the studio tonight. And so have your notifications on, and we'll see you soon. God bless.
Every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
The Oreo Express, where truth don't hide and we don't second guess. Unapologetic, we're bold and we're loud, shining light on the left shady crowd. Oreo Express, rolling down the track, exposing the lies, ain't no turning back. Conservative fire, we're speaking the truth. At Oreo Express, this one's for you. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll, let's go. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll.